Welcome to the It's Better Together podcast, where intelligent conversations turn dreams into action, with hosts Marcy Stout and Allison Nissen. Each episode highlights inspirational women and practical business advice from the Revel Coach Tuesday at 2 live programs. From building a website to securing more clients, we cover topics that are interesting to you.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Tuesday at 2. And this week I loved our conversation we had with both the poet and she calls herself Diva on Wheels, Andrea Walton. And what's beautiful about her is she really embraces the word handi-capable because she doesn't want to consider herself handicapped and be put in that box. And I found her story to be so inspiring and I can't wait to read more of her poetry.
I'm so glad she shared with us of her inspiration and just the challenges that she's had and how she has overcome them. So let's meet Andrea. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to start by asking you, where do your poetry ideas come from?
My poetry comes from life experiences. It comes from things that I've been through and things that I even go through now. A lot of my friends, a lot of my family, and just life in general.
Wow. So do you spend a lot of time honing the ideas that you have, or do they come out all at once?
It's just natural for me. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to guess about it.
So when you're starting and it's coming out, it's just flowing with you, do you go back and edit at all?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have to. Actually, for me, before I even started, I journal it, which means I map it out. So I always know what I want to write about. I don't necessarily know what I want to say at that point, but I map it out. So, for example, if I said I want to write a poem about my day, I take my journal and if I'm looking outside, I'll describe the weather, whatever song I'm listening to, what I'm wearing, and things of that sort.
Andrea, I'm so glad to meet you. I haven't had the honor of meeting you in person, but it's been great meeting you. So have you always been a gifted writer? Like is writing a new passion of yours, or is this something you've been talented at from childhood?
No, I actually started writing when I was 12 or 13 years old. But as far as actually having it published, I didn't do that until about, my first book was published, 5-6 years ago.
And what was your biggest, like, if you were to rewind time and you go back to before you were published, what was like your biggest thoughts about getting published? Like, did you have excitement or fear, or kind of what took you from like being a writer to then being a published writer?
For me, it's a mixture of both. I mean, I still have the fear, I still have the excitement, but then I think about what else would I rather be doing? Because for me, writing and poetry are my voice, and they're my only voice. And so without it, you might as well put me in a box, that box, because I wouldn't know what else to do.
And Andrea, why don't you tell us how you got started? Yeah, writing your poetry.
In terms of how I got started, I went to my doctor one day because I was contemplating suicide. And I told him, I said, I don't want to live anymore. It hurts too much. And this was right after my aunt died. And he told me, he said, why don't you take your pain and write about it? And 9 months later, my first book came out. And I have to tell you, when I opened the box for the very first time and I saw the book, I cried for like 3 hours because I couldn't believe that I had actually done this. These were my words, my thoughts, my feelings on paper. It's something that's always been in me. I just didn't know how to get it out.
And when you finally were able to get it published, is there one poem in particular that stands out to you? Like, do you have a favorite? Or are they all like children? Like, you can't name a favorite?
They're all my babies, but I have one poem that I refuse to do in public. And it's one that I wrote called Heaven's Angel. And that's because it reminds me of both of my aunts that I lost. And so for that reason, I won't do that poem in public.
So have you been able to share a lot of your works in public? Have you gone to poetry readings?
I tried to do a poetry slam, but I'm not good at doing it in public. I'm better at writing it than I am trying to perform it. Because your audience is different each and every time. And I guess I'm afraid of people's reaction to it. So like I said, I've only tried it once.
Tell me about how Toastmasters has helped you in this journey. Not that I'm partial to Toastmasters or anything.
And we have a quick disclaimer. We do not work for Toastmasters, even though Allison and I may talk about the greatness of Toastmasters on every single call. But our disclaimer is we don't work for them. We're not getting paid for advertising. We just admire their approach. But back to the question. So, Andrea, how has Toastmasters helped you?
In all honesty, Toastmasters has been a blessing and a curse for me. And I say that because even though I write, I couldn't talk to people in public. It was just, I joined Toastmasters because I wanted to learn how to talk to people in public. Every time I would say something, I would say 2 words and I would roll out the room and cry because I felt like people were looking at my physical ability instead of listening to what I had to say. And so one day I went to my mentor and I said, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. He said, wait a minute. Do you know what a gift you have? Do you know how people would honestly listen to you if you did this? Andrew, you can do anything you want. And because of that, I stuck with it because he believed in me and he told me, if you need me, I don't care what time it is, what day it is, call me. We would actually go and sit in Catholic Express and go over my speeches because he believed in me that much. And now that I have the confidence, you can't stop me. You can't stop me from talking or telling my story. So that's why I stick with it.
That's beautiful.
Now, will I continue to do that? I don't know, but it is what it is right now. And I'm proud of me because I've come a long way. And a few of you that are here, well, a few of my fellow Toastmasters that are here, they know I call them and I scream until I can't scream anymore. And they managed to stay with me and get me through it. So for those reasons, it's been a blessing because without them, I couldn't do it.
Oh, I love it. And we do want to welcome everyone on the call. And if you have questions for Andrea or comments or anything, feel free to use the chat box and we can even You can go off mute if you want to kind of comment or anything. But Andrea, that's such a beautiful story of how you have two great stories with the doctor and your mentor, and just when people come into your life at the right time and give you the right words that you need to inspire you to do something more and go on. Can you talk a little bit more about mentoring others and how you feel your poetry is actually kind of giving a service to other people, and touching their hearts like you've been touched?
Well, for me, I feel as though everyone can relate to um, some pieces of my poems, whether you have a disability or not. And I'm a woman that just doesn't want to be defined by my disability. I mean, I'm me, and so I'm as natural as can be. It's either you like me or you don't. It doesn't really matter to me because once it's out there. So you're either gonna like me or you're not. And I don't make any apologies for who I am. Because what you see is what you get. It's natural for me.
Andrea, talk to me about the handi-capable versus the handicapped. That it's about being capable. It's not being capped, right? It's about being capable, being able. And you obviously have had a lot of challenges to overcome, and speaking in public has been one of them, and then letting your feelings out, and even going through and officially becoming a published author. That's an amazing journey in itself.
Well, for me, my pet peeve is to hear somebody call me handicapped, because it's like you're putting a label on me. You're saying I can't do. And even though I have a physical disability, that doesn't say anything about my brain, about my mind, about who I am as a person. Why don't you sit and have a conversation with me before you judge me? And I think a lot of it for me right now, being a part of something even as big as Toastmasters, it's a challenge. Because I think that, so I'm not going to say all of them, but I think some of them put me in a box. And again, I refuse to live in a box. Mm-hmm. So I definitely take it as a challenge. Because you say I can't do, I'm going to show you that I can. So that's what it is for me. I'm capable of doing anything I set my mind to. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Andrea. I would just say, congratulations on how you're doing, because you are right. Like, feeling that you can't do something, where the pre-Toastmasters feeling like you couldn't find the words, and then it opened up this platform that I'm meeting you today as the person of, like, I couldn't imagine you not being authentic and sharing your story and being out there. So I'm meeting you for who you are today, and it is beautiful.
Thank you so much.
So we do have a question from the chat, which I think is a great question. It reads, Andrea, what has been your biggest challenge to writing and sharing your art?
I really don't have a challenge as far as that, because again, I'm as authentic as I can be. I have my editor, who's actually here on the call right now. We had a conversation a day or so ago, and I told him that I was afraid to even put it out. And his question to me was, why? Because you are who you are. And I had to really sit back and think about it. People are gonna think what they're gonna think about me. They're gonna say what they're gonna say. But as long as my writing is done and it speaks for itself, then I'm happy. Because I had to realize that not everybody's gonna agree with what I say or what I represent. And so again, I just put it out there, but it all comes from the heart. What I've been through as a woman and what I go through now. And I'm not ashamed of any of it. I don't hide it. You ask a question, I'm gonna answer it. And I'm gonna give you a straight answer.
And who is Velvet?
Do you want the G rated? No, seriously. Velvet is the side of me that Velvet is bold. Velvet is not gonna care about your opinion of her. She's just gonna do what she wants to do. She's not gonna. Well, I'm gonna explain Velvet like this. There are two sides of me. There's Andrea and there's Velvet. Andrea is the timid side of me. Velvet is the side that just embraces life and keeps it moving. Whereas Andrea will sit back and say, I can't do, I feel bad. People aren't gonna accept me. But then Velvet gets up there and Velvet says, okay, I'm just gonna be me. I'm gonna roll with the punches. And that's what I do.
Well, I've officially renamed your name as Andrea and Velvet. I love it. So I'm going to ask a question for Velvet.
Go ahead.
What was your biggest surprise in the last, say, 3 months?
I think the biggest surprise for me is that I'm sitting here today in front of an audience, thanks to Allison, thanks to you. I'm sitting here, and I think the other thing is how far I've come in my personal life, because you couldn't have told me 6 months ago that I would be as far into Toastmasters as I am. You couldn't have told me that I've been area director. You couldn't tell me any of that, because I've said so many times I wanted to quit, and I must admit I sit here at least 4 days out of the week saying I want to quit. But then I think about how far I've come, and so when I think about that, I refuse to give up. Because who else could do it but me? That's why it was given to me. So, again, I'm happy being me right now.
And Deirdre's asked a question. How would you encourage other handy-capable people to access and develop their inner Velvet?
Okay. In all honesty, the only thing I can say is do what makes you feel good. Don't let anyone put you inside of a box. Again, I am who I am. My disability does not stop me. It doesn't define me. It's just a part of who I am. How many people do you know that can actually do what I do and still smile about it and go through what I go through on a daily basis? I don't know any. So yeah, that would be my advice to anybody, whether you're handicapped or whether you're an able-bodied person. Just do you. Just be who you are. And don't apologize for anything.
When you are writing your poetry, are you writing from Andrea and or Velvet's perspective, or both?
Both. Because both are parts of me. And so I couldn't do it any other way.
Do you know when there's a difference? Does one feel more bold and the other argues with you saying, don't put that on the paper?
I definitely know. Velvet comes out of me when I'm mad, or really when I'm really wanting to do something, but then certain people try to challenge me or try to chastise me and say don't do or don't say. Can't do that. So I put it out there, and not everybody is going to agree, but as long as I'm comfortable with it, I I honestly just don't believe in putting myself in a box for no one.
And we all face challenges in different ways, and that description of the box, I think, is such a great vivid description. And sometimes it's like we are the ones putting on the walls and putting on every aspect of the box. If you find yourself that you accidentally, whether you put yourself in the box or you feel like somebody else is putting the box around you, what advice do you have for people to break down some walls and kind of look within and kind of be back to being you, however you define you?
Oh, that's a hard question.
We've got lots of time. I love hearing your thoughts.
No, actually, for me, what I do is whenever I feel like I'm stuck in a box, I'll call my editor and I'll cry about it. He's like, what's wrong? He has to think about listening to me. Mm-hmm. And even though we live in 2 different states right now, whatever he's doing, he'll stop and he'll listen to me. So I think no, I know that's what helps. Anything else besides that in my piece of paper, I couldn't function.
So Samuel says it's been an honor for him to have met and worked with you, Andrea, and he's looking forward to your next project. What is your next project?
So you would have to put me out there like that, right? It's actually a project that I'm working on now, and it's a book called Dirty Martini. And yeah, it represents exactly what it says. I wanted to do a project that wasn't me being sad or depressed all the time, because my first one I did, which is Range of Emotions, a Woman's Journey Through Poetry. I did a lot of poems where I was doing the "oh well, it's me" type of thing, and with this one, I want to show something different. So it's been an actual honor and a pleasure to have him as my editor, my friend, my just everything. So, and he's gonna make sure that I put out the best product possible. So, yeah.
Well, and you've said it out loud, and so it's gonna happen. You just promised us. That sounds like a great book. So Abdul wrote a really cool quote, and I would love to hear your thoughts about it. The quote is, "A person often meets his destiny on the road he took to avoid it." So a person often meets his destiny on the road he took to avoid it. What are your thoughts about that? Are there any roads you might have avoided, and as a result, you might have found your destiny?
There are a lot of roads that I've avoided, but they've actually turned out to be my destiny. For example, when I met Mr. Abdul, we were in another company together, and he became my mentor. And I used to call him and I'd be like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. This is a lot. this isn't my passion. I can't sell anything. So he's like, okay, whatever you want to do, just do it. I'll be here. He's still a great mentor. He's a friend. He's a father figure. Thank you so much for being here. He spent a lot of time with me, talking to me, getting to know me, which is what I can't say for a lot of people, but the ones that know me know me. And so it's been fun. It's been good. And I don't regret anything that I've done as far as my journey, because my journey has taught me a lot, and I'm still learning. And I think that we're all gonna learn until the day we close our eyes. I'm never gonna think I've learned enough or I know enough. If there's something that somebody can teach me, well, then teach me.
And Andrea, how would you tell someone who is just beginning to come out of their shell to get started? Just getting out of your comfort zone.
Getting out of your, at some point in life, you're going to have to come out of your comfort zone. And for me, it started with Toastmasters. When I first started Toastmasters, I hated it. I hated everything about it because I felt like nobody would listen to me. They're all going to look at me. They're all going to feel sorry for me. But then I'm like, one day I came home after giving a speech, and I started crying even giving a speech. And I cried all the way home, 3 hours, and I said, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit here and cry about it? Or are you going to figure out the best way to handle it? So, in actuality, I called Samuel and I said, he's like, what's wrong? I was like, what am I doing? I was like, nobody wants to listen to me. And he's like, just be you. And that's always his favorite go-to line. And I don't know if it's just with me or if it's with everybody else in his life, but he always tells me to be me, and so that sticks with me. And so after I got off the phone with him, I went back to Toastmasters the next week, and we were getting ready for the international speech contest. And I said, okay, I'm gonna try my very first speech contest. So we did the what is it? We did the contest and I won in order to even compete. And when I competed, I took second place. I couldn't even finish the whole speech. In the middle of the speech, all I could do was look out in the audience, look at my mother and my auntie, and start crying. Like, my mother, she walked up to me. She goes, why are you crying? I'm like, I can't do this. She's like, Andrea, yes, you can. And for the last 3 years consecutively, I've competed and I've placed. So I must be doing something right. Luckily, this year, other folks get to compete because I can't. I'm an area director. Kudos to me. But yeah. So it's just it's a natural thing for me to speak now to somebody else, and whether people accept it or embrace it, it doesn't matter because I've gotten it out. So, and I feel the same way about writing or any other thing that I'm doing.
Yeah. And congratulations. So you've got the speech contest you're winning, and now you got the promotion as an area director. That's awesome. And so now that you're an area director, there's that leadership component of it. Can you describe how you are, like, let's assume, I know in a lot of Toastmasters chapters, there's always that one person that comes in a couple times and they don't come back. And it could be like a fear of speaking. It could be, somebody needing that mentor like you had in Samuel's to say, just be you. What's your approach as an area director to help lead other people to find more confidence and find more engagement?
Um, for me, it's working with people like Allison, Deidre, and Yvette. They are three women that keep me strong. They keep me like balanced. Because without them, I'd be like, I quit. I'm like so serious. Don't call me. Don't email. That they keep me balanced. Allison's thing with me is just focus on doing the best you can do. And so that's what I do. I've stopped putting a lot of pressure on myself because what will be will be. And I can't win everything and I can't accomplish everything. But one thing for me is that if I get in there and I try and I know in my heart that I've given it the best I can give it, well, then nothing else matters. I don't care about what somebody else may say, what they may think. It's just about me. And if I get the satisfaction out of it, I'm good. Because when I stop learning and when I stop growing, it's time for me to do something else.
Yeah, I love that. So today I was listening to a podcast, and this is an analogy I've heard a few different times before, but it was just like articulated in a way like very similar to what you're saying. But it's like they say it's like the story of the peach. So if you're a peach and you're not taking time to recognize, your beautiful colors, your taste, your uniqueness, all these great things about you, and you're sitting there being like, I really want to be an apple, because an apple's like, it's a more popular fruit. There's more people buying apples. There's more recipes with apples. You can bake with it or cook with it. There's a lot more things you could do with an apple. So if your existence is spending more time judging others, to kind of seeing what they're doing, wanting to be more like that, you miss out on who you are. So you're so blessed to have these mentors that are reminding you of you be you. And then what I love that you said is like, you almost don't have to try as hard because you're just showing up as you, and it's more fun and easier. There's less resistance to that. And you're a beautiful peach.
Thank you. I'm just me. I'm just me. I've had all my I've had some challenges. I've had quite a few disappointments, but then I learned to embrace it and just keep doing what I'm doing. And at some point, when it's time, I'll get what I'm supposed to have. Until then, I won't.
So true. Well, as we wrap up this session, I'd love to hear from you just any like inspiration or favorite quotes that you have that kind of helps you, get out of bed in the morning and attack the day. Do you have any favorite quotes that you lean on, or anything that inspires you on a daily basis?
What inspires me on a daily basis? On a daily basis, I do three things when I first get up. I pray, and I thank God for allowing me to open my eyes. And I listen to poetry. I listen to my favorite poet, who is, again, Samuel. And no, I'm not just saying that. I honestly mean it. As a matter of fact, I have the CD in my studio right now. That's how I start my day. And then I think about my next speech or my next poem that I'm writing. Just do it.
Wow. I think that's a great way to start your day. and just getting yourself organized, thinking about what the future holds and what you can bring, what sunshine you can bring to everybody else. You know, when we are able to look at ourselves, a thought that we have the ability to share and bring joy to others, it is definitely something that gets us going. And your poetry is beautiful. I'm so glad you've shared it with the world. I really look forward to reading more of it. I do want to hear you speak some of it at a club meeting sometime. So I'm putting that challenge out there for you. Or we can record it and we'll just record it.
I'll tell you what, we'll have to record it because if I do it in Toastmasters, I'm probably sure they'll kick me out.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I know so because of the way I write it when I say. So.
Well, I think we could record it sometime. I think that would be a wonderful project for you and for me to help you with. So anyway, thank you everyone for coming by. I am so glad we got to hear Andrea and Velvet's story.
Well, I thank you for giving me this platform. I thank everyone for showing up. I love you. I send each and every one of you virtual hugs and smiles. Thank you just thanks everybody for being here to support me. Thank you, Allison, for believing in me. Thank you, Marcy. Nice meeting you.
Wonderful meeting you. And thank you everyone for joining us. We hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'd love to see you another call.
To watch a live Tuesday at 2 program with Revel Coach, visit us at revelcoach.com. Until next time.